Hi, this is Sundar and I make videos on data science. I have planned to make a series of data science videos right from beginning till advanced level. So each video will be like short videos where you can understand one or two concept in every videos. So what are the things that I'm going to cover in this series? We will start with exploratory data analysis. We will also look into some of the feature selection and engineering and transformation. And then we'll also talk about analysis like regression and classification. And we'll look into its performance metrics. Then we will move on to somewhat advanced models like random forest, XGBoost, and other things, which is called as a ensembling model. We'll also see like clustering algorithms like k nearest neighbor, k means. Then we will move on to machine learning interpretability, and here we will use a couple of tools like Lime and Chap. We'll also see a little bit of text mining. We don't go in depth of text mining because it's a very big area, but we will be looking into the basics of natural language processing. Then once we learn all these manual techniques, we will also learn concept like AutoML or auto machine learning tools with the open source machine learning tools. And then we will move on to deep learning concept. Again, in deep learning, it's again a very big subject. So in my initial videos, I will be covering the basics of deep learning, and we'll also look into the hands-on into the deep learning. So all these sessions will be based on say practical demo using the Colab notebook. So if you have a Gmail account, you can go ahead and create your own notebook, Colab notebook. All it needs is your Gmail account. So that's it. Let us move on to the first chapter called EDA. In EDA, it will be a multiple parts. So entire EDA will be broken into 3 or 4 videos. So the first video we will see like uh, how to handle some of the things like outliers, missing values, and then we'll also see the univariate analysis, bivariate analysis, and then we'll also see some of the correlation between the features. So and then we will move on to some of the advanced concepts like transformation and apply function, etc. So let's okay. So with this, let me take you to the Colab notebook. Okay, let's start with the EDA, also known as exploratory data analysis. So the steps in EDA, finding the types of variables, and then the variable types can be of continuous or categorical. Continuous are the numerical variable where the range is between minus infinity to plus infinity, and categorical variables are the variables where we have levels. Say for example, metro city in India, we can say New Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata and Chennai are the metro cities where we can see only 4 levels. The another example of a categorical variable could be gender, where we can have 3 levels: male, female and unknown. And then we will also perform the univariate analysis with the continuous variable to understand the distribution of the variable, and the similar way we do for categorical variable as well. We will also see the bivariate analysis where the name itself is pretty clear, like we take two variable and we see the relationship between the two variable. We do analysis using the two variables, and then we also see how we are going to treat the missing values and then the outlier treatment. Then we will see how to transform the variable from one form to another form, where we will be using logarithmic transformation or square root transformation, cube root transformation, or any custom function based on our use case and domain information. Then we'll also see how to do the sorting and merging with the data frame. Then we'll move on to use the beautiful apply function. We'll learn about apply function in Python, and then we'll also see the aggregation where we group the values, and then we find we find a new insight out of that. So these are the some of the steps that is predominantly we use, but this is not limited to this. There could be more or there could be less, but in predominantly these are the some of the steps that we need to follow whenever we get a new data set. Okay, in this EDA video will be in a multiple part. In the first video, first part, we will learn about finding variable types, univariate analysis, bivariate analysis, and missing value treatment, etc. And then the rest of the thing will be available in the second part. Okay, so this particular cell, what I'm trying to do here is trying to read a file from my local disk, and I'm using a data set called telco-churn. The telco-churn is a very open data source. You can go to any Google and you can say that telco-churn classification data set, and you can find it in Kaggle, or you can find it in UCI machine learning or anywhere else. You can just click here and you can download it. So it is very easily available. This is because I wanted to make sure like the data set is pretty simple and easy to understand, so that the domain is not that complicated to understand. The main motive of this EDA is to understand the EDA, not the variable, the domain information. If I take any medical data set or any other thing, it will be very difficult for both of us to explain and learn. So that is the reason I have taken a very simple one to make this video very easy to understand. So once I run this command, it will ask for me to choose the file, and once I choose the file, I can upload the file into my Colab notebook, and then I'm importing some of the important Python libraries like IO, Pandas, NumPy, Matplotlib. Pandas is for data frame and data set, and then the NumPy is for mathematical calculations. Matplotlib is for visualization. Again, these are the some of the important, but there could be like more libraries available, and as and when you require, you can import any library based on your requirement. And then I'm loading the data set into my data frame. I name this data frame as df, and the name of the file is telco-churn.csv. And when I'm printing it, what I see a few columns here with the few values, the first 5 values and the last 5 values. So, and then if I when I say df.shape, I will know the how many rows there in my data frame and how many columns are there. So this tells us the data frame consists of 3,333 rows and 22 columns. And if you want to know about the column names, I just say df.column, and I know all the name of my columns, which is nothing but account ID, account length, email message, day minutes, evening minutes, so on and so forth. Then df.head gives us the first 5 rows of my data set, and the 5 rows, it says that account ID, account length, email message, and then the values of the first 5 rows. So, and then you can see all the columns here, so all the 22 columns here. Then the first thing before even going for a univariate analysis, I need to know what are the different types of variables available in my data frame. So to know that, we have to give this command called dt types. df.dt types gives us the list of all the variable names and then the column types. So here we see 3 things here: integer, float, and object. Integer, float, and object. So integer and float are continuous variable. Object is our categorical variable. Then even before going further, we would like to see the baseline metrics or a data set summary. So the Python has got Pandas has got a very beautiful function called describe, using which you can easily understand this data frame. You can summarize this data frame very easily. So when I give df.describe, I see count, minimum, mean, standard deviation, minimum, 25th percentile, 50th percentile, 75th percentile, and max. So account ID is again the customer ID, so I'm not worried about this. But let us take one example and understand this summary. So account length is nothing but the tenure of customer with us. Say we have a XYZ telecom company, and what is the tenure of this of a customer. So here we can say this is account length, again it is in months. So we can say on an average the customer is with us for 101 month. And then you can see the 50th is nothing but the median value. The median value is also saying that it is 101 month. So that means when the mean and median are close, you can assume that there are no outliers or the outliers are negligible. And then you can also see what is the maximum length. So we have few customers who are with us for 243 months, and then we do have a customer with 1 month here. So this is minimum, this is maximum, this is my mean, and this is my median. Similar way you can understand the everything, all the columns here. So which is again the same way you can understand when once you go through this data set. And then let us start with the univariate analysis. Univariate analysis, we have like I have taken a couple of example here. So I'm going to plot this evening minutes here and see how the distribution is. So I see I plot a histogram here, and I see a very nice bell curve here. So but on an average I see the maximum is like the most of the customer is between they use about 150 to 250 minutes per month. So this is the majority of customer what they do, and there are customer with 0 and there are customer with 350 also. So it means the range is between 0 to 350, but most of the customer does uses about 150 to 250 minutes per month. So this is my you can say that this is my the interquartile range, or this is the majority of customer what they do. And let us take another example called international charge. So international charge, we have a dollars in the bottom and then the frequency on the y-axis. So we can see most of the customer pay about $2 to $3 per month, and the range is between 0 to 5. Let us take another example of univariate analysis, but here the plot is not going to be histogram, but this is going to be a box plot. So the box plot, so again this is the lower whisker we have, the upper whisker we have, and the rectangle box is nothing but our interquartile range. And then we see this is as a 0th percentile, 25th percentile, this is 50th percentile, this is 75th percentile, and this is our 100th percentile. And we also see some dots over here, some bubbles over here. So these bubbles means outliers. So we see in customer service call we have few outliers. We will see how to handle this outlier, but in this case we are just analyzing how our data is distributed. Let us take another example of day calls. We see outlier on the bottom side, we see the outlier also on the upper side. But we can say that on an average the customer uses about 100 minutes per month in a day call. So let us go back and see the summary here. Day calls. We have day calls here. Yeah, day calls. See, the average is 100 minutes. The similar way, the maximum is, this talks about maximum is about 165, and then the minimum is 0. So the range is between 0 to 165, and my median is also 101. So there is no outlier here. Very few outliers here. Very few customer has done considered as an outlier here. So there are about, you can count it also, 1 2 3 4 5 6. There are only 6 customers who used more than 3 calls per month, who called our customer service for more than 3 times. But again most of the customer calling between 1.5 call to 2 call. So this range is between, so that is the inferences that we can understand from this box plot. And here also we are talking about day calls. So in day calls also we can see that we have outlier here and we have outlier here. We'll see how to handle this outlier, but we can see here the 100 minutes like per month that is our median value. Then do the category variable. Once you've done with the univariate analysis with the continuous, get started with the category variable. In our data set, we have only 2 object variable or category variable, which is area code and then the state. So let us start with the area code. So I will do a value count here. Value count is the function which summarize my which gives the count of the value based on the area code. So we can see here we have 3 area codes here, 415, 510 and 408. So under 415 area code we have around 1655 customers. In 510 and 408 we have around 840 customers. So, and then if you want to plot this in the, you want to get these numbers in the percentage, just put the len of area code, that's a feature name. And then you get like 415 is contributing around 50%, and 510 and 408 contributes to 25%. Similar way, you can plot the same thing, the values into the plot. All you need to do is just a plot bar, and then the percentage also you can do this plot bar, so you'll get that in the percentage. And then let us take another example of state. So when I plot the state, what I get is like there are about 50 states, around 50 states, but this is not a very good graph to be shown to anyone, because we cannot infer anything out of this. We know that there are too many levels here. So this is not a good graph to be shown here. One of the common mistake we do is we just plot everything, and we see that once we plot a graph and then we show it to someone, they will understand. Remember, whatever you do it for your business. And if your business do not understand, or your client do not understand what you are presenting, then there is no point in plotting those kind of graphs. Always make sure like you keep your analysis as simple as possible. Don't try to put a difficult graph like sunburst chart, or maybe graphs like spider chart and other things and all. Don't do that. Always stick to a few graphs like bar plot, or you use that line graph, or you use the scatter plot. Though these 2 or 3 types of graphs are more than sufficient for you to understand the data. Okay. So with that understanding, let us see how we can see the value here. So what I am going to do is I'm not going to plot this here, because the plot is not not clear to me. So I'm just going to say value count and percentage. I see all the 50 states here, and the least percentage is from this is California. This is California, and then the maximum is from the WV. So from WV state we get about 3.18% customer, and from California we get around 1.02% customer. So now move on to the bivariate analysis. So let me print the column name again, because we have to scroll up and down. So I'm printing the column name again, and I'm going to do the scatter plot with the account length and day calls. So the account length and day calls, in my x-axis I have the account length, the tenure of the customer, and the day calls. What I try to understand here is what is the pattern between the account length and the day calls. So you can see here, if the customers are new, they are making the new means between 0 to 50 months, they are making less calls. But when the customer is above 50 and between 150, around 50 and 150, they make more day calls, and then again the gradually decreases once it crosses the 150 months range. So most of the customer lies between the 50 and 150 tenure, 50 months to 150 months tenure. And my calls, again day calls, is between 75, you can say 75 to 125 calls per month. Similar way, another example, you see your account length on the x-axis and night calls on the y-axis. Here again, this is 50 to 150 is the range where most of the customer are doing, and my night call is ranging between, you can say, around 80 to 120. And there are some few outliers also here. These are outliers, and this bottom is also outlier. Similarly, you can plot this another thing. I have taken 2 or 3 examples, and you can see. So again, you take this plot with the account length and international call. I don't see any pattern here because it's very scattered. So I don't see any pattern because the number of calls or the internal calls are less. So this is how the pattern looks like. So to understand, rather than doing each and every variable, you take all the variable and then you plot each and everything. Do the bivariate. There is the easiest way to understand that. So let us do the df.core. df.core is nothing but correlation analysis. So it plots all the variables, all the continuous variable on the x-axis, on the as a column and as a so column and row. So it gives, so this one, the diagonal one is nothing but the always it will be 1. So what this means, it is the same account ID to account ID, account length to account length is always will be, it will be correlation will be 1. And so we can ignore this the diagonal one, but we can see the other feature. Let me see, the churn is my target variable, right? So let me see how the account length is impacting the churn. So what is the relationship between the account length and my churn? So my account length is and churn, the relationship is about 0.16, which is we have a positive, slightly positive correlation. So account length, we cannot say that account length is one of the reason for customer getting churned. So there is a very low. I mean, there is a correlation, but it is very minimum. And then we can say the Vmail message and churn has a negative correlation. So what does it means? When customer makes a lot of Vmail message, sends a lot of email message, the churn rate is decreasing. The likelihood of customer getting churned out is slightly low, but again it is very minimum, so we cannot conclude based on this, but this is a baseline information or inferences that we can understand from the variable. So you can take another one. Let us take the international minutes. So we can see it is somewhat positively correlated, the international minutes. So when customer makes a lot of international calls, there is a slightly high chance of customer getting churned. But look here, customer service call. Customer service calls are the call that we make to the customer service agent. So when the customer makes a lot of calls to the agent, getting the customer churned out rate is high. So what does it mean? Why customer will make a call? Only when he is not happy with something. So when customer are making more calls to customer service, so that means there is something that we need to fix with our service, or maybe with the agent. We need to talk to the agent, and we need to see, like, whenever customer making too many calls, we have to say that okay, like we can assume that this customer will be churned out. So this is how we understand the correlation matrix. Let us move on to the if I want to do the if I want to understand the day calls and churn, if this is too huge and it is very difficult to understand, you can also plot single variable correlation. So here what I am trying to do here is day calls correlation with churn. So here it says 0.18%, or sorry, 0.18. This is the value that I get out of this. Moving on to categorical versus categorical. Earlier what we have seen is a continuous and continuous. Here categorical and categorical bivariate analysis. So here we have only two category variable, and I'm going to use the crosstab here to plot this value and see. So I see that MA is the state, and then we have the different area codes. So the area code we have seen that 410 and then 508 and other things, right? So how many customers belong to which state? This is the first area code, this is the second area code, and this is the third area code. Similarly, from MD and the area code, what is the number of customers that we have? So similarly, you can see all the plots here. This is a pivot table that you see here. Okay. Move on to missing values. We see how to treat the missing values, but even before finding the missing value, we need to see if there are any missing value in our data frame. So the easiest way to do that is df.isNull. So you do df.isNull, and you will, wherever you see true, that means that particular column has a missing value. So, and if you see false, then you can assume that there is no missing value. In our luckily in our data set we don't have any missing value, but if in case if it is there, we will learn how to handle it. So we can see that everything is a false. So this data frame is very nicely composed one. So but if you have any missing value, you find true instead of false here. So then again going through the entire data frame and then understanding is a tedious one. So I can just summarize it by just saying isNull.sum. So I can see all the columns and it will give me the count of count of missing values, if at all is there anything. For example, if I have a missing value in a couple of columns, couple of rows has a missing value in vmail plan, I will see vmail plan, and here I, instead of 0, I will get 2 here. So similarly you can understand whether there is a missing value or not, but in this case we don't have any missing values. So if you have a missing value and you want to drop the rows with any missing value, then you can say drop NA. Drop NA is the command which will drop all the even if there is one column has a missing value, it will drop everything. And then dropping all the rows where all the entries are missing. So then you can provide the parameters also, how equal to all or any or something like that. So here I am just again doing the same thing what I have done in the previous command. So I can also give the same command here like this. Moving forward, if you want to drop the column with any missing value, till now we have gone through with the row wise, but a column with any missing value. So this particular command will help us to drop it by column. So this is a column wise missing value dropping. Then fill. Okay, so dropping is not a very good thing to do that until otherwise you don't have any other idea. So just dropping is just one simple thing that we have seen, but again it is not advisable to drop the column or row if there are any missing value. Rather what you can do is you can treat them in differently. So here in my first case, what I am saying is fill all the values with 0 wherever you find a missing value. So fill NA will help us to do that. So I am going to fill it with the 0 here. In case you want to fill with some number, you can put the number also here, but in our case we are filling with the 0. So instead of missing value, I am going to put 0 over there. So again you can also fill NA equal to 0, and for one particular column. Here you are doing it for the entire data frame, and if you want to do only for the one particular column, you can specify the name of the column and you can do it. And then you can also, like, again 0 is not again is a very good way to do that. Rather we can fill the column with the average value of other rows. So in that case I am using the command called mean. So in fill NA, and I am going to use the function called mean. So when I say mean, so what it will do, it will fill it by the mean value of that column. So here in this case it will take all the non-missing value day minutes rows, and then it will take the average, and wherever it finds a missing value, it will fill it with that particular value. So this is one way. You can also use median here in case like you want to fill it with the median, or if you have any custom function also, you can make use of the custom function here, like domain specific function here, and you can fill it over there. So there are certain other ways to advanced way, like we can use KNN, K nearest neighbor methodology, and we can do it with the regression analysis or classification analysis. There are so many ways to do that, but those are advanced, and we will be learning them in the future videos. But in this video, because this is a very simple and basic video that we started, so we will be learning with only the simple command, and all the advanced concept will be covered in the forthcoming videos. Okay, the next one is the univariate outlier detection. So if I remember we saw an outlier when the day minutes, all the bubbles here and here. So first I want to plot this again, the same plot, and I see if there is any outlier. Yes, we do have outlier here and here. So we want to do with the bivariate also. So in this case, rather than one value, I am going to take two values here, two columns here, day minutes and night minutes. So day minutes and night minutes, when I combine them, I see outlier here and outlier somewhere here and here and here. So, and you can see this particular customer, even the 150 months old customer, but never made any calls, like less than 50 minutes he used. So maybe this customer may be churned out, or maybe this customer having some trouble. Or you can see these customers are, some of the customer are making, maybe if they are not using it, we need to find out why they are not using it. Then if they are using it more, then it's okay for us, no problem. But if you are not using it, then there is a problem for us. I mean, us in the sense as a telecom company. So removing the outlier from the data set. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use that says, okay, I have a range here from 0 to 350. So let's say I don't want this particular section to be there in my analysis, just for an example. So I can always say less than 300. So when I say less than 300, and then again I'm plotting the same thing, you can see the plot is somewhat different from the above, because whatever you have seen there in the top and here, like, it is somewhat different. So we have removed the night minutes, so you have to see here, not here. So don't get confused with this one. We haven't removed the day minutes here. Day minutes will look like the same, but look at the top of the graph, night minutes, this one and this one. So we removed all the night minutes, which is greater than 300. So, and again day minutes also we can say, again we can remove that. So we here I removed the 300, but again this is a brute force method to do that. This is just to make you understand that we can follow this kind of some of the technology, like some of the concepts, like how to remove the outliers. But again, if you have outlier, there are advanced methodologies to handle the outlier treatment. But in this video, we will cover only the basic concept. Then you plot this. So now you have removed it, right? So after removing it, you can see my upper one is gone. So similar way you can do the treatment for the lower one, if at all it is necessary. So to get the correct data set. So then what we are doing is we are replacing the outlier in a variable with the mean value. So earlier we have removed it, but again remove is not a good idea to do that. So what I am doing here is I am going to, similar way the missing value treatment, I am going to replace it with the average of day minutes. So wherever there is an outlier in the day minutes, I am going to replace it with the day minutes. So here we have outlier, right? So wherever it is less than 50, I am saying take the average and replace it there. So once I do that, you see a very nice graph is plotted over here. So this is a very nice distribution. If you plot this, you will get a very beautiful bell curve histogram. Okay, so with this we'll stop this video, the session 1 video. In the next video we'll talk about variable transformation and other steps. Go through that video, and if you have any comments, if you have any suggestions, you can always reach out to me. Thank you for watching this video.